All right, today we are jumping into an ancient story that has this, well, surprisingly modern lesson about money, our purpose, and what it really means to make an investment that lasts. So it all kicks off with this wild question. We're about to meet a manager who is, let's be honest, a bit of a crook. And yet somehow his story is used to teach one of the most powerful lessons about faith and thinking ahead. How on earth is that possible? Well, let's dive in and find out. Okay, so first, we gotta set the scene. You have to understand the world this story was told in. It was a time where people were just completely wrapped up in the here and now, often forgetting there was anything beyond their day-to-day lives. Think about it this way. It's like people were chasing ghosts, you know? They were mistaking all this fleeting pleasure and temporary stuff for what was actually real and permanent. They were so zoned in on the present moment that the future, especially the eternal future, just wasn't even on their radar. And this is the exact mindset that Christ came to challenge. So, this brings us to the main character of our story, a steward, basically a manager, who gets some really, really bad news. He's been caught messing with his master's money, and his job is about to go up in smoke. Yeah, the jig is up. He's fired, he's got to hand over the books and face a future with no job, no income, nothing. His whole life is about to get turned upside down, and he needs to think fast. And you can almost hear the panic in his voice, right? This is him, talking to himself, running through the options. And they are not looking good. He's thinking, I'm not strong enough for manual labor, and his pride is way too big to let him beg on the street. He's completely cornered, totally desperate. And that desperation, well, it sparks a pretty creative, if not exactly honest idea. So here it is, his brilliant plan. He knows he's about to be kicked to the curb, but for a little while longer, he's still the guy in charge. So what does he do? He calls in everybody who owes his boss money. To the first guy, he's like, hey, you know that bill for 100 measures of oil? Let's just make it 50. To the next person who owes 100 measures of wheat, he says, just write down 80. See what he's doing? He's using his master's assets to buy himself some friends, to make sure that when he's out of a job, these people will owe him a favor. Now, this is the part of the story that makes everyone scratch their heads. Why in the world would his boss, the Lord in the story, praise him for cheating the company? Well, here's the key. The master wasn't praising the fraud. Not at all. He was praising the cleverness, the foresight, the pure shrewdness of using a temporary crisis to lock down a permanent future. So this is the absolute crucial point. The story isn't a how-to guide on being dishonest. It's a lesson in being smart about what's coming. Christ is using this very worldly example of quick thinking to teach a really deep spiritual truth. And this comparison just lays it all out perfectly. Think about it. People who are focused on this world, they are incredibly strategic, so full of energy when it comes to securing their financial futures. The challenge, then, is for people of faith, the children of light, to take that same level of passion and wisdom and apply it to their eternal future. This right here is the steward's wisdom boiled down to one simple idea. He knew his job was temporary. He knew the resources weren't his to keep, so he used both of them to build a bridge to his future. And that's exactly what we're being called to do. Okay, so what does this actually look like for us? How do we take our temporary, earthly stuff and make an eternal investment? This is the command that comes right after the story. Now, mammon of unrighteousness, that sounds super dramatic, right? But it just means worldly wealth. Our money, our stuff, our time, our skills. The instruction is to use these things, which we all know won't last forever, to build relationships and make a real impact that stretches into eternity. So how do you actually do that? Well, the source material gets very specific. You invest in eternity by investing in people. You feed the hungry, clothe the naked, care for those who are struggling. Every time you use what you have, your time, your money, your abilities, to lift someone else up, it's like you're sending treasure ahead to your heavenly account. And this is taken very, very seriously. Hoarding our resources for ourselves isn't just seen as a missed opportunity, it's framed as a kind of theft from God. The idea is that everything we have has been entrusted to us, like a manager, to be used for the good of others. So when we use it only for ourselves, it's like we're embezzling from the true owner. So what's the return on this kind of investment? It's not about money, not at all. It's something so much deeper, so much more personal. It's about who is waiting for you at the finish line. I mean, what a beautiful thought. When you give what you have to help other people, your heart starts beating in sync with God, with Christ, with the angels. You literally become a partner in their mission of love and compassion. And this is the ultimate payoff. Those friends you made with your earthly resources, they are the very ones who will one day be there to greet you. The people whose lives you touched will be standing there with grateful hearts to welcome you into your forever home. Now that is a return on investment that no stock market could ever offer. At the end of the day, this whole story just boils down to this one timeless, soul-searching question. What good is it to gain everything this world has to offer if in the end you lose the only thing that actually lasts forever? It really forces you to stop and think about what truly matters. So, the big takeaway here is a challenge for all of us to rethink what it means to be wealthy. The shrewdest manager, the absolute wisest investor, it's not the person with the biggest bank account on earth. It's the one who gets that our temporary resources have an eternal purpose. So the real question for you and for me is this: what are you investing in?